Hello everybody, welcome back to the Unnatural Room. My name is Sean Davidson, and today I will be talking about the Dogman. The Michigan Dogman goes back to the Ottawa tribe. Live today. They have legends of the Dogman. On April Fool's Day in 1987, a radio host pulled a prank on his audience. The people pulled a prank on his audience, and it was a song about the Dogman. But what he wasn't expecting was everybody to call in, asking when this song would be played next, or stories that they've had. The Dogman is typically described as 7-foot bipedal, sometimes walking on all fours, and he has a body of a human but a head of a canine dog, and has a human-like scream or howl. The next is a story. The Dogman stalks the woods of Michigan. As I walked the trail, I decided to stray from the path and follow the river, leading me to the bottom of a waterfall. Then I heard a howl that sounded off. I decided to annul the howl and took a picture of the waterfall. After that, I set up camp in the fire, and I camped the night. The next morning, I ate and cleaned up my camp, and I decided to hike some of the trails. But before I went, I noticed a giant canine paw close to the tent and campfire, and then I looked at it, and it was bigger than my hand, and I decided to go hiking anyways. When I got back to camp, it was getting dark, and I decided to light another fire, which I did, and I started to set another fire up, and I stayed up until midnight. After midnight, I got up and turned off. I put out the fire, and I noticed that there was no sound. All I could hear was the waterfall dripping. There was no other animals, no crickets, nothing. It was quiet, really too quiet. I decided to ignore that too, and then instead I made sure the fire was out, and I grabbed my lantern and got into my tent and slept or laid there for a couple of minutes, and right after I lay down, I heard movement around my tent, and another howl right next to me. I took my lantern and I turned it on, and there was a shadow that was hovering over my tent. Had it was standing on 2 feet, and it was it had the torso of a man and a head of a canine, and it had nails. It had very claws on its hands, and then after it sniffed the air, it slit the tent straight open, and then I heard it run away, and then I got out of the tent and I spent the rest of the night in front of a fire that we lit, and it didn't come back for the rest of the night. But I could feel like something was watching me. And then when light started to come up, I packed up my tent and left. That's the end. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, please like the story and leave a comment below of what you think of the Dogman. And please subscribe. Thank you.